Could you give us an overview of how serious the situation is in Europe at this time, and especially in the eastern parts of Europe?
If we start our visual presentation of 7-day average on a global basis, we can see that the picture for Eastern Europe is getting worse from day to day.
Am I right if I'm concluding that basically there is a direct relationship between the number of people who are vaccinated and also on the other end, the number of people who are dying in a case they have not been vaccinated?
Yes, you're right. I will show once again this picture here. It shows us if we compare countries with high numbers of COVID deaths per 1 million of their population with vaccine doses per 100, we will see an inversely proportional picture.
And there's an extremist political focus on religious liberty that doesn't make any connection to anything actually scriptural in the Christian context. The Bible says, be careful not that your freedom doesn't cause another to stumble. And our liberties have limits when they stomp on the rights of others. It's part of the job of the state is public health. It's to protect life and health. In contrast, what does the anti-vaccine Christian seek? Is really the liberty to risk the lives of others. Christianity in this case means I want to do what I want to do. And there is a valid concern about the protection of religious liberty in some cases, but its overuse has allowed for what a writer, David French, called a sense of religious entitlement that is way more emphasized than Christian responsibility nowadays.
Yesterday, I read the bragging of a photographer saying that all summer long he attended many weddings and spent time in enclosed spaces with about 3,000 strangers who did not wear or assume any protection against COVID-19, in spite of not getting any vaccine or protecting himself in any way. He said he will go to the market to buy some fruit and vegetables and mix it with garlic and make himself a nice smoothie that will keep this flu, please notice my quotations mark, and any other viruses at bay. How did we get here, dear people?
I want to use an analogy here. So last week, as I alluded to, I had an ankle surgery. I was asked to consent and given a huge list of all the things that could potentially go wrong. I was then told the percentage for success and the percentage for the thing coming back in the first place. Now, I just actually signed the form because I wanted it over and done with. Just do the thing, get it done. I also trusted the consultant, but I was still putting, in effect, my life in his hands. It's something they do all the time. It's something we do all the time. Now, my aftercare also had more forms, and also this drug you need to take, and this drug you need to take, and this has 100 side effects for this painkiller. But I just said, you know what? Give me the drugs, it's going to help me. And again, when I went for my vaccine, I asked a question. I was given a list of side effects, but I did still take it, as I have done all my travel vaccines and all my childhood ones.
Have the values of Jesus Christ, which is the love of God and the love of neighbor. And yes, we go vertical to God, but if you're a Christian, then you also go externally to the neighbor. And as we applied that to COVID, we said, how can I serve my neighbor in the midst of this disease? And one of the minimal things we can do would be to get the vaccine so we can keep other people from getting it. And then it's just a totally misunderstanding of freedom, the way the secular world uses it, and that it just, when they use it, it just means selfishness. And when the Christian faith uses it, it means self-giving and service.
Not only does COVID affect those who are sick, but it extends to their families also. This new strand has become what we call a family affair. We are finding multiple family members are affected by COVID in one household. We're finding that parents who are homeschooling their children, but one parent is working, they come home and they share the virus with the family members. One usually ends up sick and 9 out of 10 times dying because it was transmitted from one family member. And the common denominator is no one has been vaccinated. It brings about suffering for the entire family. As a clinical chaplain, those that work with me, we find it difficult to see families suffering when there really should be no suffering.
A lot of people were very loudly and proudly against the vaccine. And shockingly, it was more often than not fellow believers, followers of Jesus. And I was surprised at first, and then I was disappointed, and then sad and depressed. I would have thought it was obvious for any Christian. Getting the vaccine is the most practical way to love your neighbor in a pandemic. While I am young and healthy and would most likely be perfectly okay, even if I got the virus, we don't know. I might unknowingly pass it on to someone else, someone older, someone less healthy than me. And so for me, the vaccine and the protective measures are more about protecting the other, and in this way, loving the other.
Even in modern Western societies, there are limits to personal freedoms. And there are certainly limits to our freedoms if we claim to be followers of Jesus. That seems to be the crux of the controversy today. If someone wants to risk their lives, and even their health, for not being vaccinated, that is their right. But when their decision puts others at risk, it assumes a broader public health impact for all of us, and also a Christian responsibility. And Calvin insisted that through medicine, God provides us with the capacity to attend to our illnesses. Indeed, whoever does not take account of the means or medicine which God has ordained does not have confidence in God, but is puffed up with false pride and temerity.